Hang on. Let me get back to this screen. I'm going to start the webinar and I'm going to make you the host. So come on, more. There we go. Okay. You're the host now. So you're all set and I shall bid you all adieu. Have a good meeting.
Great, thank you. Have a good one. Okay, guys, just give me just a moment. I need to rename
No, thank you.
our friend here.
I tried searching for it.
Yeah, it goes to town email, so I've just got kind of busy. Okay, so we have some attendees. Louisa needs to join, so I'm going to promote her to panelist, I think. Great, and Ken is in also. Ken, I'm going to go ahead and, well, you can't hear me, so I'm going to improve Ken. Ken is our Boy Scout. Hello, Louisa. And hello, Ken. So I'm going to just start the meeting and then Ken, I'll bring you in. And is it Ken?
It is. Yeah, my wife's account, but.
Okay, wonderful. So I'm going to go ahead and start. Welcome to the Trails Committee meeting today, March 16th. I'm going to read the governor's preamble here and then we'll get started. Pursuant to Governor Baker's March 12th, 2020 order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law, Chapter 30A, Section 18, and the Governor's March 15th, 2020 order imposing strict limitation on the number of people that may gather in one place. This meeting of the Southborough Trails Committee will be conducted via remote participation to the greatest extent possible. Specific information and the general guidelines for remote participation by members of the public and/or parties with a right and/or requirement to attend this meeting can be found on the Town of Southborough's website at https://www.southboroughtown.com. For this meeting, members of the public who wish to watch or participate in the meeting may do so in the following manner by finding the meeting at https://www.southboroughtown.com/remote meetings. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so, despite best efforts, we will post on Southborough's website an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. So I will do a roll call attendance. When I say your name, just let me know verbally that you are here. Satyendra Sharma.
Yes.
Tom McCoolier.
Here.
Louisa Vargas.
Yes.
Isabel Murphy.
Yes.
Great. And Catherine Craddock McKee. Great. And we're, thank you. So it's nice to see everybody. And we'll get started with the Ken Boy is here from Troop 92 to talk about, he reached out via our volunteer forum and asked about a community service day in spring. And so we're going to talk about those details.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Catherine. So as you said, I'm one of the dads with Troop 92. I have my two sons are members of the troop there. And one of the capacities I serve the troop under is as a merit badge counselor. So my role there is to facilitate and guide them toward achieving several of the merit badges that they need to advance. And the current one that I'm guiding about 8 boys through is citizenship in the community. And one of the sub-requirements of that is that they identify organizations in the community that they'd like to learn more about. And having done that, find out ways that youth can help those organizations. And so 5 boys have identified the Trails Committee as a place where they want to dig in and help out.
Nice.
So that's kind of the background. The specific requirement is for 8 hours of service per boy. One of the things we should discuss is, over what time frame that could occur. Could all 5 be at the same time? Would you prefer 2 smaller crews at different times? We've got COVID complications and kind of scheduling kids who have different schedules. But on that front, Sunday afternoons does seem to be relatively open from the boys' standpoint. So I guess what I'd like to hear is what your vision of these service opportunities are, what that would entail, where it would be, and also what, I think you mentioned late April, May timeframe. That would be great, but then also, days of the week availability, because I'm sure someone from the committee would want to be there guiding the effort rather than turning them loose to
Yep, absolutely.
your own thing.
Great. Well, thank you. Thank you. This is a wonderful opportunity and we're happy to help. 8 hours is so much time. I get excited thinking about what we could do with everyone's help here. So one thought came to mind when we do trail cleanup, in the spring, oftentimes there's trees down or various cleanup that we need to do. Some of it may be related to, a small portion of trash cleanup at certain trailheads, but that's usually not a full 8 hour day. And then even the trail cleanup, I'm not sure we've ever had a full 8 hour stretch of trail cleanup. So what it sounds like would be we could do a couple of sessions maybe to meet the full 8 hours. And it's 8 hour per scout. Is that?
Yeah.
Yep. So we could do something like that.
Yeah,
And-
like over 3 weekends, that would be,
Yeah.
3, 4 weekends, 2 weekends,
and-
whatever.
Yeah, weekends would probably be best. I think most of the committee members have another, we all work, most of us work full time. So weekends are good. I think most of us can make Sundays, and even if we're not all available, there could be, one or every other one that we could attend. But there will always be one of us there. So I think I'd like to open it up to the committee to share some thoughts and questions and things, but a couple of things running around, like we do spring cleanup. So it depends on what the shape of the trails are in after some of these storms. And my question to you, Ken, would be, oftentimes we've partnered with the Boy Scouts various times to do trail cleanup, and their fathers would say have had training or the skills to work with chainsaws. So knowing whether that's an opportunity here with the group that you're working with is going to be helpful for us to be able to guide. If that's not the case, that's perfectly fine. But we would choose other work, for example. And so that would be one thing. And then another opportunity.
Well, let me answer that real quick. The boys can't work with power tools.
Oh, okay. Not so it will just be the boys and not their fathers.
That would be the prime charges for them to be doing stuff. 4 of the 5 are in 10th grade, one's in 8th grade. So, they're not the little cubs, they're
helpful perspective. Okay,
they're
that's good. Can they work with
substantial in there, but
can they work with loppers or hand tools that aren't powered, like trimmer, hand trimmer, hand manual trimmers and that type of stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, good. That's helpful. Thank you for providing. And then the other thing we do is we have in the past partnered with Earth Day, with Rotary Club sponsors Earth Day here in town. And we partner with them in the sense that the good news is that most of the trails are fairly clean, but there are some hot spots that tend to gather trash. So that might be one of our sessions, is we could work on Earth Day if the Boy Scouts were not already planning to participate in activities. Now, we always have to be sensitive to how existing plans and how they work, rather than, we don't want to be competing and take away from, for example, if the Boy Scout Troop 92 was already going to do Earth Day, we don't want to take away from that experience. So we just want to add complementary opportunities. So I'll say that. And then I think those are a couple of things that come to mind. And now I'm going to open it up to the committee and see if there's any other thoughts, ideas, or questions that you'd like to share.
The only thing I would just say about this, sorry, Isabel, were you gonna?
No, go for it.
Is I like the idea of, so the 10 hours, I like a 2-hour segment.
8
Because
hours.
as we know, there's these storms in March and April and stuff, and we always like have to scramble. So I think if we could do them in 2-hour chunks would probably be the best way to do that. And then we have, like I said, we have four 2-hour chunks, and I could spread that out to, 4 different weekends or whatever. I think after 2 hours, you kind of like lose interest, or you kind of like lose enthusiasm.
It's
And I
hard.
wouldn't want to do it for more than that.
It's hard work. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm totally with Tom. I think if we had that over, like 4 weekends, 4 Sundays, and to where you were going to, one of the things that we're allowed to do on DCR land now that we couldn't do 10 years ago is to take some of the encroaching vines down that have killed a lot of the trees. And the reason I bring that up is I'm thinking if we're dealing with students who are like 10th grade, 8th grade, strong, but not able to use power tools, being able to use the loppers and get those vines off would not only be cleaning stuff up, but it would be also really good for the health of the trees.
I love that idea. The Oriental Bittersweet has taken over, and we've talked about how we can, I really like that idea. Thank
Room
you.
to work in the backyard on that myself. They like that.
Yeah. Okay. So anybody else, Sati or Louisa?
I think it's good, cleanup. What about the trash cleanup we do during the Earth Day? So that is
Yeah.
one thing, yeah.
Yeah, so we can look at the hot spots that we typically seem to see trash accumulate, and maybe along the waterway we haven't addressed that as much, but there's a lot of along the corners of some of the reservoir there's an accumulation of trash, but that may require, I do have enough reachers now for probably the number of boys you're referring to, because I hoard trash reachers apparently, and no, I just had a mix up with the order last year, so now I have lots of them. But that could be something we could incorporate into this too.
One last question about the boys. Do you know what like a bow saw is? The ones that kind of like circle and it has the jaggeds and you could just cut like that. Now, is that all right too because the loppers can only go so thick, and sometimes we need something about, 2 inches in diameter.
Yeah, they use those on camping trips. I don't know if there's a size limit onto what that is, but I'll double check, but I believe that would be in scope.
Great.
That's good, because it's like if you ever cut down Christmas trees at one of the Christmas tree farms, those are the saws that they supply you for.
Mhm.
But sometimes the loppers can't get that thick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good question. Thank you.
So is this the kind of work that they were looking for?
Yeah, I think so. Certainly it's outdoors, which ticks, a lot of the scout boxes normally. It also ticks some of my COVID boxes that, they're not, your biggest competition was the food pantry. That's, definitely a worthwhile organization in their own right, but, being inside, not really great for 5 boys that wants to volunteer. So,
Yeah.
there's multiple components
Yeah, definitely.
being considered. So I'm hearing mostly trail maintenance and perhaps some enhancement with at the sides of the trails with the encroaching vines. So this wouldn't be trying to open up a new section of trail.
Right. So we don't have that type of project right now to open up a new section of trail. I'm trying to think of our trails projects. We just opened a new section last fall. And we have another trail that's coming about that won't be ready until maybe 2022 that could use some of that type of work, but right now not. It would
Okay.
be
It was,
mostly, yeah.
yeah, it was just a curiosity. And
You know,
whether,
go ahead, I'm sorry.
no, it's just one other thing that I promised one of the boys to mention, that he's aware of a trail. I'm relatively new to town, so I'm not exactly sure where he's talking about, but in the vicinity of 9/11 field, I guess there's a trail that heads off into Marlboro. And he says that Marlboro doesn't maintain their section very well and wants to know if your committee can do anything about that.
Oh, that's interesting. So I wonder what he's referring to, because 9/11 field, there's a trail behind 9/11, which you bring up a really good point, that we haven't blazed that trail.
Right.
We could actually have them, we would walk with them and we could blaze that trail. That is actually a really fantastic
And
opportunity.
that I'm totally with you, because then that whole group of Troop 92 could get credit for having done it.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
Oh, yeah. That's exciting. Uh-oh. We might be changing this around a little bit with that. I like it. Now, so this trail doesn't go into Marlboro necessarily, but I know, Tom, you have a specific ask, or have a specific interest rather, in that section, because you've asked that very question, like, how does this connect to Marlboro? So we don't actually have a connection, but I'm wondering what trail he means.
Well,
Yeah, I'd have to.
I kind of like know where, so if you go, once 9/11 parking is open, you just go to the end. If you go to the right, you go behind the monument, and that's the trail with the loop that we have on our website. There's parking. People also go to the left down there. I don't go down there because, like I said, it's not that blazed and taken care of. And that's where you go right into Marlboro. But I know in the general, oh, yeah, so.
You can see my screen now. So this is Marlboro
Right.
Field, right?
So, yeah, scan out just a tad.
You mentioned
So
Farm Road.
You see where it goes to Pine Point?
This is Pine Point, right?
No,
Oh, no,
down
this
below,
is Pine
yeah.
Point. Oh, this is where the loop is, right?
It goes right to that little island, and then it comes back around to the road. Yep, exactly. So on the north side, the Marlboro side, it follows along the water all the way until you get that, like Italy with the boot down, go down, down, down,
Is
down.
this a boot? That's a
Yeah,
boot.
yeah. And then it goes to the
That's
road that
Italy?
DCR has.
That's Sicily. Okay.
And then coming back to the parking lot, it kind of like goes through the center. It doesn't follow the water there.
Oh, right. Yep, yep.
It's a road that DCR uses.
Yeah, so just let's see. I have that. Do I have it? Did I put it on the website?
I think you did. I do remember seeing that one.
I thought I did too, but I am not. I don't.
So-
I don't. Oh, you know what? I put it on this map. Can you still see the same screen?
Yes,
Okay, great. So yeah, let me move this. Yeah,
there it is.
yeah. I can't.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, so it kind of goes up this way, right? So yeah, that's a great idea. As an option to, instead of some trail, there may be some trail maintenance, but I don't think
Yeah,
it
it can
will
be
take-
mix and match,
It won't take 8 hours to do that. And if it does, we have a bigger problem. Yeah, so that, I love that. Thank you for mentioning it. That was you, Isabel, is that right? Or,
Yeah, it was you.
oh, but you mentioned 9/11, so you get the credit. Okay,
It was one of the boys in the troop was asking.
well, please compliment that Boy Scout, because he is he asked a good question and it's going to spawn a good idea. And the only thing I have to wonder is if we can get blazes in time. I know that the trail blaze that we have been using, we've run out, but there may be we've talked about using a different type of blaze anyway, that the Southborough Trails Committee blaze is not necessarily the right blaze we want on trails. So it might be that we can order a temporary one that would, a temporary permanent one that would be a good replacement for this project. And we could probably do that in that time frame. And we might be able to use some of our funds that we had left over from our grant project from before. That grant that just keeps on giving. So great. Okay. Yeah, so I think you've given us a lot to think about. Ken, we're going to take some time and we need to sort it out, but we have a little time. My question though is, if the 2-hour blocks for trail work was a great suggestion, but for this, we might need a little flexibility. Say if it takes a little bit more than 2 hours, like I can't imagine it being a ton more time, but actually that trail we haven't maintained in a long time, that we could probably focus all the maintenance and all the, on that section alone, but we'd like to do some surveying and kind of check things out. So my question is, what's the best way to coordinate? Because if you got 5 boys and then you technically have their parents' schedule as well that needs to work, and then your schedule, and May has Mother's Day and Memorial Day, and April has Easter
And Tom's birthday.
and Tom's birthday. So what do you have a suggestion on how we should plan? I'd probably like to go ahead and get some dates settled before people start planning their planning time away. Do you have any thoughts?
Well, I think we can avoid the obvious ones that you mentioned, and hopefully there's still 4 available Sundays.
I know.
Around that, you list quite a few actually. So yeah, so we can pencil in some stuff. Even a 5th weekend. If one of the boys doesn't make one, they'll.
How does that work?
A boy will miss one and can go on the 5th one to make up the time.
Yeah. So so how does that work? So each of the boys, each of the 5, you said, right?
Yeah.
Have to do 8 hours each.
Right.
Right. And so ideally they would do it together to ensure that the project as laid out would work. Otherwise they might have, so we might need to think of some, say, low hanging fruit. Like if a boy needed to make up a few hours, do we have a quick project? That could be some other trail maintenance that we have that could come up. So we can keep some back pocket ideas, so to speak, just to ensure that there's an opportunity for everyone to do their community service.
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay, good. So awesome. So if you have any questions after we talk, or feel free to shoot me an email. We'll talk about the calendar a little bit tonight, and then it won't be tonight, and it won't be tomorrow, but the 3rd day after today, I will send you an email and put some dates out in front of you and see if we can coordinate. Again, we have rain to consider and that type of stuff. Some of us are comfortable working in the rain, unless it's like lightning and thunder, which is more dangerous. So I would socialize that idea if I were you with the Scouts, like, is anyone up for this or any issues? Now, obviously
They camping worse. So.
Okay, good. So we've got some good troopers. So we'll kind of plan accordingly, because I think if weather becomes an issue, because it's spring, it's New England, and we all have been there, we'll need to kind of have some backup days.
Yeah. So if you schedule 5 or possibly 6, and then we can, not use the last ones, or they end up being backups, or they end up being date for 2 of the Scouts that missed one of the earlier days, and kind of tidy something up at the end or whatever.
Okay. And afternoon starts at what time? Does it start at noon? Because I know there's some.
I didn't get into that nitty gritty. I currently have the meetings at 1:30 on Sunday, so that's definitely in the acceptable range by that point.
Yeah. So do you you have the current meetings, you mean, with other Scout business?
Yeah, well, working on the other requirements for this batch.
Okay, good. So would you check in? I know church happens on Sunday morning for a lot of people. Could you check in and see if we could do earlier than 1:30, just to be respectful of the committee members? Sometimes getting a little bit of earlier start provides a little bit more of a buffer on the end when we might need to do other tasks on the weekend. So I would be thinking like maybe a noon start time.
Okay, I'll ask, actually, the one boy who has the later church commitments is doing food pantry, so there's a good chance that we can move that up, that time up. Well, I'll survey.
Yeah, and if 1:30 is the only time we can make work, I mean, we'll do what we have to hang. Anyone else have any thoughts on timing on Sundays that they want to share?
Oh, we'll just see what they come up with.
Yeah, okay, good. Well, we're really excited. This is a great opportunity to again partner with Troop 92. We've done a lot of work. Alex Flynn, are you familiar with Alex Flynn? He's a former Troop 92 scout. He's probably.
Yeah, that may have been before my time in Southborough.
Yeah, he did a wonderful project for us on the Sudbury Reservoir Trail off of Deerfoot between Parkerville and Deerfoot. You can get through to it off of Deerfoot easier, right across from the Burnett house, the Burnett Garfield mansion.
Yeah.
That is under construction now. So he did a historical walk. So he installed 4 historical plaques that just spoke of the history of the Burnett house and with views of the Burnett house. And it was just a really great project that we've been very happy to, and a lot of people in Southborough enjoy that, bringing history and having it on a trail walk, which is really nice. And there's a nice little granite bench there too. So yeah, we love Troop 92 and we love Troop 1 too. We love all troops. I mean, all scouts. Equal opportunity. So thanks again for coming, and we'll be in touch on next steps.
Right. Thank you.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Hey, Tom, do you mind if I assign you watch the chat and attendees in case someone comes in or whatnot? Is that okay?
Yep, no problem.
Do you mind? Does anyone feel that I'm discriminating by not calling on you to do that task? Because I call on Tom almost every time. Okay, just checking. Yeah, check. You never know. Are you pissing people off? Do you ask?
Actually, I do that at work stuff too. I always put the participants because sometimes you don't know who's speaking. So you look at the microphone and you can see who's speaking, especially when you have like 10, 15 people. So
Yeah.
I do that naturally. So for me, just to look right
good.
there,
Oh, good.
not a big deal.
Oh, good. All right. So next is approved minutes from last meeting. So I connected with Sati. I did not have adequate time to review the minutes. So I was hoping if the committee were in agreement that we could punt the review and approval of the minutes to next time. Would anyone have an objection? Thank you. And by the way, Sati, you do an amazing job. It's very comprehensive. And I just wanted to spend a little bit more time with it. So thank you. Okay, great. Next up, I have some very exciting news to share with you. So the Peninsula Trail and DCR Public Access Plan and the MWA 8M permit status update. So for months, and I will say maybe it has been 8, we have not had an update. So I have an update now. So I had mentioned, so basically the last time we met was in early February, and I attended the DCR Stewardship Council meeting. I think it was on February 11th. And I attended to speak during public comment. Now, the DCR Stewardship Council is appointed by the governor, and they are in existence to help DCR advise on certain topics and issues. And one of them is to help communicate with DCR if there's issues and things like that. So I attended public comment. It really is, as we've seen in some of our town meetings, public comment is more just you get to say something and then nobody responds to you and no questions. So it's like you're just speaking in a vacuum. So you really don't know if you're being heard or if there's an impact or any of that. So that was that. And then I didn't hear back from anybody. And then I followed up with DCR Commissioner on the, what date was it? On the 8th of March 8th. So I had communicated on the 15th, the 29th of January, attended DCR Council in February, 11th, and then reached out to Commissioner Montgomery and Deputy Commissioner Nick Connors. He is the second in command. So I reached out to them on March 8th and asked if they could, the same spiel. And so I also attended the next Stewardship Council meeting on the 11th. That was last Thursday. So I also again spoke at public comment, and after this one, so the Deputy Commissioner Connors was in attendance this time. So last time he had to log off before public comment. This time he did hear public comment. So he called me after the meeting and offered to help and asked for some information and background, and said he was going to start the process of getting up to date on what was going on and seeing if he could help move things forward. So that was a big step in our moving forward and how we're going to move forward. And he understood the timetable that I've been focused on communicating is we need an answer and a commitment from DCR before we go to town meeting so that we can tell the people that we're asking to vote yes on this warrant article that DCR is committed to moving forward in 2021, so they have a more compelling reason to vote yes and spend their money. So I'll pause there. Any thoughts, questions, or feedback? Okay. So I reached out to, I sent Deputy Commissioner Connors the background information today, and he confirmed he received it and would be in touch. I also reached out to MWRA, Sean Nevin, who's been our main contact, and asked if MWRA could move forward in parallel with DCR, or if MWRA needed DCR to move first, right? Because DCR has a bigger slice of the pie as far as ownership of the land. And so Sean said he's working to get an answer and he'd be in touch with us. I confirmed the boundaries, and so he was aware of that. And I asked also, I just put it out there for consideration, and I just said, it would be great if we could just cut out the Route 30 road and just walk across the grass to the trail that we built last year. Like, just gonna sit this out there for your consideration. Now, they've said no in the past, but you never know if people are more interested in moving forward with this stuff. So maybe we'll get a yes. So that's that.
Last one again. I wasn't following you. I know where the trail we blazed. That's the one next to the Framingham line. What was that? Park on the grass?
Yeah. So can you see my screen and you see the full map now?
Yep.
Okay. You see my pointer? I'm over here.
Yep.
This is the Peninsula Trail, right?
Yep.
And this is the dam over here. So there's Stony Brook Road here, and the trail comes to Route 30, and you're supposed to walk along Route 30. This is the little Stony Brook River, that little, well, it's not a river, but the Stony Brook waterway. And then the trail goes in off of the road, right? This is the one we reconstructed here.
Mm-hmm.
So my question was, there's this nice little area here. It's not a straight path, so it's complicated. It's in some wetlands and everything is difficult. But if we could just not go on Route 30 and just walk across here to there, build a little bridge over Stony Brook instead of the pedestrian, we can't get across Route 30. It's just too dangerous. So my question was, can we just walk across here? Right. That was what I asked.
And did they give you an answer?
No, sir. That's going to take a little bit more persuasion.
I mean, that's the perfect scout project.
Well, that bridge, I think, is going to be more than just a scout project.
Right. Well, if the scouts did the footbridge for,
Right.
they could, a scout that's motivated with the right resources that took a lot though, that footbridge, because that was in wetlands. And this is so close to the MWRA facility.
Right.
That, there's different considerations for security and for all sorts of different things, but it's not off the table as a scout project for the future. Agreed.
Well, and my feeling, I think we should also reach out to the local businesses right there. When you start looking at, coming back after COVID, wanting to walk, I think if we're looking for funds to.
So we're not allowed to solicit businesses, but I'd like us to find a way.
I'm not talking about soliciting. I'm talking about if the companies in that area knew that that was something that would be proposed, then it would be donated. It wouldn't have been solicited.
Right. So what are the ideas the committee has on how do we get funds? How do we not solicit donations, but get donations?
We advertise to the companies. The biggest one there is Sanofi.
And both.
Tell them that to make sure their employees are knowledgeable about that for their lunchtime breaks, and that this is something we're raising funds for.
That's soliciting.
No, we're raising
No,
funds. We're not
it's
asking. We never asked.
It's informational. It's like the whole differential between the public broadcasting, what we can say in terms of recognizing opportunities and selling a product.
Okay, so you guys are in charge of figuring that out, figure out the language and figure out how we get to it legally and check it out with people that say it's legal, and then let's do it.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Tom and Isabel.
We'll work on, we got Isabel for the legalese. Okay.
Thank you very much. I love it because I wanted to tap that for a long time. It's a perfect opportunity for those companies that are right there. And I'm absolutely certain they'd be happy to contribute in a way that's meaningful to us and to the community and to they can sell it to their employees. I mean,
Oh, yeah, it's a
win-win, win-win-win.
It's a great connector trail all the way to Palmetto.
Yep. So thank you very much.
Are we gonna have is this gonna be a multi-year to give us access to that little strip though?
Yeah, of course. What are you kidding? What? It's gonna be 3 years max, minimum. Sorry.
Okay, so it's a good time to start.
Yeah. You just got to start the conversation and keep going. I mean, maybe we're making friends. I don't know. Are we making enemies? I don't know.
Oh,
Maybe we're making friends, right? If we do a good job with the Peninsula Trail, then maybe they'll be like, oh, look, they did a good job and maybe we'll help them out and we'll hook them up. Maybe.
Are you Italian?
No.
guys. All done. Next.
What? Did I miss something? Okay. So now that we've heard from DCR, we can close that survey. I haven't done that yet. The petition, rather. Sorry, the friendly statement of support, whatever it's called. And so in the next day or two, we had, after the last meeting, Tom had come up with a really great proposal of saying, what we've accomplished. So we've made contact. We're closing it out. Thank you for everyone's support. Yay. Step 1. Boom. Right. Step 2 being, we're going to roll this out in a phased approach. So step 2 will be, we have a listening session coming up. We have a CPA application and we need you to come out and learn about that. So my question to the committee is this. Town meeting is May 22nd. And we'll say it's May 22nd. It is the date, but if it doesn't get postponed, let's work backwards from that date. So when should we plan to have, and I think we only need, we can do an electronic outreach via email and Facebook and town alerts with paper, with description of what we're doing and getting the word out that way. But we want to invite folks to a virtual meeting to ask questions and get more information, take a virtual tour with us, that type of stuff. So when do we want to do that if town meeting is May 22nd?
I'm just looking at the map. The calendar. Is the first week of May a good time? Gives them 3 weeks to digest it, or do they need more or less time?
You said first week in May?
Yeah, if we have a meeting in the first week of May and we advertise it as explaining the Peninsula Trail and the CPA requests and stuff like that, then that gives them, 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks. So, thank you.
Yeah, I kind of like that. Oh, don't look at whatever. Oh, that looked almost awful, but okay. I'm sorry. I just got nervous. Okay, so May, let's see. Yeah, I like the first week in May is a good idea. I think April might be too far away. especially if it gets postponed. So we could do a weeknight. Does that, wait a minute. Yeah, I think we should do a weeknight versus a weekend. As the weather starts to get nicer, we're going to lose people on the weekend. I don't think we should try to do anything on the weekend. Any thoughts on that?
Agreed.
So first week, an evening. We need to look at, well, people aren't really scheduling. Some important meetings are scheduled. We want to stay away from the Board of Selectmen, right, and the Planning Board and other important groups. Everyone's important. I'm just putting those couple out there for ideas. So maybe I say we stay away from Fridays. Maybe a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday.
Yeah, I know the selectmen has it on Tuesdays. I don't know if it's the 4th they have one.
Right, I don't either. If it is the 4th, then I would say no on Tuesday and then focus on Wednesday or Thursday. Do you know, Tom, do you have our May schedule for, what's it called?
It's the, no, I don't. I know what you're talking about.
That's usually, oh, it's on the 5th.
Of course.
Okay, that's okay. So maybe the Tuesday or the Tuesday or Thursday. I guess there's no, what's wrong with Monday? Are you still skiing in May, Tom?
Did you just ask that question?
Did I? I didn't.
No. I actually am putting away my skis. I'm done for the season.
Okay. So maybe Monday. I was just thinking Mondays can be busy for people, but maybe it's just busy for me. Is Monday back on the table, you think? Planning Board has their Mondays, so. We'll do it if we have to. How about that?
All right.
Okay. So the sooner we get that on the calendar, the better, just in case anyone ever tries to not conflict with other groups, then we can at least have that out there. Okay. And so we can talk a little bit later about another meeting, maybe in, where are we in March? Oh, actually, yeah. So I can pull some ideas together for our April meeting, and then we can outline it in a detailed way. But if we meet in early April, and there'll be a reason why we want to do that, as it will come up later. If we want to meet in early April, that will give us, I think we need at least 3 weeks of advertising. What do you guys think for that?
Yeah.
So it'd be good to be able to get that out early April. We could always send a save the date without information, though, if we had to. I don't like doing that kind of stuff, but people do it all the time, and that works if we had to, right? If we didn't have more information like sign up, registration stuff. So let's think through that. Okay, thank you. Anything else on that? Thoughts or ideas?
Actually, I just on the Southborough town website, and they don't go that far out planning their meetings. So there's nothing in May on the calendar for anything. So.
Okay, so we'll keep an eye, and that will start populating maybe in April, but we won't wait for it, and we could probably do the math with Board of Selectmen anyway and understand what they do it every other one, right? Typically. Okay, great. All right, so that's that. I'm trying to think if there's any, oh yeah, so ADA compliance with that. So really, I didn't get to speaking to the contact that Sati made. So my next objective is to work with Sati and go do a site visit with somebody who has ADA compliance experience, because I want them to take a visual look at what we're looking at to see if it's even possible, so that we can either continue to have that conversation, and we'll be ready for the session in May to talk about the potential this trail has. I don't want to use that if it can't be used. I don't want to talk about it if that project can't expand in that way. And I have not talked about it with our contact at DCR yet, because I don't know if it's possible. So I'd rather know. And so I'll work with Sati on getting a site visit scheduled between now and our next meeting, and see if we can learn more about the opportunities that we have there for a compliant trail.
I think we need some preparation for that, even for the site visit. So there are some, there's a wonderful document in the one that he sent from the Forest Service, USDA.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So that is, yeah, that has a lot of information about the slope and, the trail width and everything. So if we are planning to have this person to give a site visit, we should do our own from our own side, some our own survey.
Does
And
anyone
then-
have any tools to measure slope? All right, so we need something to measure slope and be able to figure that out. I think there's a way, if a person stands here, there may be some apps
I'll
that,
find out if there is any way to do that.
yeah, so that would be one of our biggest questions, is how we measure slope. Because I think you're right, Sati. There's a couple of areas that are a little, we've accomplished the one getting past it, but there's another area up the way. Speaking to this matter, there was an abutter that is perhaps moving into the area. And he inquired with the Conservation Commissioner, the agent, Melissa Danza, about if we are putting a trail there, are we considering putting any visual blinds, a green, planting any trees to protect or to prevent, because that access road currently has full visibility to the houses there. So I'm really glad he brought that up. I think it's a really good point, and that could be something we include in the DCR grant application, for example, in 2022, if that's all a go. It would be to be able to plant trees along that area and give a green fence for those abutters. I think that would probably make them happy to have a visual shield from anyone who's walking on the trail, because I do expect it to be a popular trail.
Do you think we could ask if any Boy Scouts would want to help us? Excuse me, if we want to ask any scouts if they would be interested in helping us, or somebody wanting to do it for a major project?
Yeah, I think it's definitely an opportunity, but I want to say planting trees of that size, because we're not going to, I'm not going to recommend we buy trees this size that take 10 years and 15 years to be big. We're going to have to spend some money, buy some pretty halfway mature trees that grow fast in that area. And then we're dealing with the Conservation Commission near wetlands, all that good stuff. So yeah, we can certainly bring in the Boy Scouts if that can work, but maybe. So I guess the answer is maybe, but probably not in 2021. It will most likely be a 2022 thing, but let's keep it on the agenda in our minds. That's an opportunity, because if they're just digging holes, there's no just digging holes. If you dig holes in New England, you really need machines, and
You need machinery, it'd be a lot easier.
it's so hard. You think it's easy until you try to dig a hole in New England, and it's really not easy at all.
Because they're actually building new houses where you're talking about. They actually subdivided some of those lots.
There's more houses going in there?
Yep.
That beautiful field is no longer going to be a beautiful field?
I don't know how much of the field is, but yes.
That's going to make a butter outreach interesting if there's no abutter there, but they turn into
There
a
is
butter.
there is a couple of houses that have full view of that road
Yeah.
today. And
Yeah.
then there's going to be probably one or two more houses there. Because it is all open
We
there.
should, that's actually a really good point. We need to do some research, because, and maybe Conservation Agent Melissa Danza can help us on this, because if we have people buying a house, buying a property that's getting developed, or a developer that's developing land, is there anything in advance that we can do to proactively say, hey, guess what? A trail's going here and you got to work with that. And this isn't something that a new person can come in and say no to, that's an already established conversation that they know when they buy the property, or the developer knows there's a trail there, or you know what I mean? A lot of times you can head off a negative conversation by just informing all parties of what's going in there if they don't already know. Because worst case scenario is you're a new homeowner, you go survey a lot that you want to buy, and you're going to buy it from the developer, and then you're like, oh, this wonderful private way is next to it, how great. And then a public trail goes in and you have a ton of issues on your hands. So I want to get ahead of this as much as possible. So I'm happy. I'll put that on the list to reach out to Melissa and just see if what we can do there, because I don't want any problems and any surprises.
Yeah, because there's a house, it's a smaller house that's for sale right now. It's vacant. And then if you're at the trails, to the left of that house is where they're building a new one. It's right across the street from Sue Wood's parents' house. So that's why I know, because, you know, I was Sue Wood's parents' house a couple of times.
Is Sue's parents' house on the map listed as Sue's parents' house?
Yes. They should be. They've been living in town for 90 plus years.
Is that up on Valley Road?
Yes.
Okay.
So it'd be good if everybody wants to visualize it, just go, you know, if you're going down Route 30 by Southborough Auto Tech, just go up you know, they have those 2 little V's to go up. Just go up right up there. It's a beautiful part of town. It's really nice up there. It's quiet. You can see the reservoir, and then you can see where the bend is, and you can see some stakes where we're going to build those new houses.
Okay, thank you for the heads up. Okay, so I think that's good. So Sati, I'll be in touch with you about the ADA stuff. So next is the ADA self-evaluation transition plan. So basically, I think I mentioned last time, the central CMRPC, the same organization that was doing the interactive map with us, which I don't have an update on, but they are working with the town to do the self-evaluation and transition plan for ADA compliance. And that's mostly focused on buildings and such and facilities more than it is open space and trails. So I've been involved in the conversation, and Vanessa Hale at the town hall has been in touch. And I looked at the survey, and there's really nothing for us to fill out. It's not applicable to us, but I did impress upon her as a committee's desire to be involved and to be involved in the ADA conversation as it relates to open space and trails. And she said there will be an opportunity, there's going to be a public information session. So I recommend when we hear about that, and that we can also connect with the ADA committee, that we participate in that public info session so that we can have our voices heard, and that we can advocate for trails or open spaces to be more available to people of all disabilities, where it makes sense and is possible to do so. So I just wanted to share that little tidbit and update on that piece. And I don't know when the public information session is. I'm assuming we'll hear about it when they advertise for it. So I will share. Okay, so next is trail maintenance. So lucky us. Hey, Tom, was that the same person that reached out to you that you had mentioned? Oh, okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, I was hoping there was 2. So it sounds like this is going to be a great opportunity. I'm kind of very interested in the 9/11 field this year. That I'm really glad that came up, and I think we might be able to spend a lot of our time there. I have not been on the trails lately, and or outside of my house because I've been working so much. Has anyone noticed since all these windstorms? I know BCT along the off of Clemens and Nichols had some serious down trees. Sati, I don't know. I know that's your favorite little new trail section, if you've noticed that, but Bill Fadden had reached out, or no, it was Sudbury Valley trustees had reached out and copied Bill Fadden, and Bill Fadden shared it with DCR. So DCR tends to take care of that access road because they have to drive on it all the time. But there were some serious big trees that came down on that one, but I haven't heard or seen along the other trails other than the existing ones we already knew. Has anyone?
I'll try this weekend. Yeah. Okay, I'll check this.
Okay, yeah, and I'll go out this weekend too and check if each of us, Isabel, you're on a section, and if you want to take a look and see, I'm sure Partridge Hill has a few more trees down. I'm just hoping it solves itself. Like if it just, all those trouble trees can just come down by themselves and save us some effort, that would be great. But maybe we can survey the trails in the next week or two. And let's see what comes out of that. And obviously things happen along the way that we won't be aware of. And we can come up with a game plan to see if there's any hot spots that we want to use the community service days on. And because one of the things I'm thinking with 9/11 field is that trail, it must need some serious maintenance. So we could probably use everyone's time on that trail. And then we might need another initiative to clear any of ours, of our trails, the other trails.
The thing about the 9/11, it's only the trail on the north side, the Marlboro side, that's really always has trouble. Because remember, that road goes all the way out to the point. And
That's the easy part, right?
that's and like I said, DCR maintains that. It's the other side that needs a lot of work.
It needs a lot of work. So what we'll have to do is kind of like, what can we do to get through this? And I think the biggest thing is blazing, because I think I'd shared, I almost got lost in that section. It was almost night and I didn't have a flashlight and I got a little freaked out, but because it's not clear where to go in some there. So I think if we could just try to make it a little more clear, we might be able to do a phased approach throughout the year to get it in better shape, right? It won't be perfect as an outcome, but it will be good enough for now.
Do we have any like tree signage or anything like that we can put on that trail so it's better marked?
Oh, were you part of the earlier conversation?
No, I was coming from my car to here.
Oh, okay. So I think we don't have enough of the Southborough Trails Committee blazes, but to blaze that trail. But we did talk about as a committee that we might want to move away from that blaze. As beautiful as it is, it doesn't really represent a trail name, which is what blazes tend to do, either a color or a trail name. So I could probably come up with a blaze that we could use as an alternative. So yes, we agree to blaze that section, at least to be that can be one of the main outcomes of this project, is to make sure that's blazed.
Good.
And then we can advertise it a little bit more, because we've been a little quiet about it. It's on the all trails map, but I don't have a separate section for it either on the description. So it'd be great to be able to add another trail description and trail map to our map list. So so that is that. So let's do a little survey and we'll come back and report next time. So grant opportunities, last or a couple meetings ago, we talked about partnering with the stewardship committee and actually letting the stewardship committee lead the grant opportunity, but the Choate Fund Trustees grant. So there is maybe something coming out this week about that. So I do believe it's in play. And so we talked about, so the stewardship committee, I think, I serve on that as well, would like to incorporate some trail signage and things for the town forest, which has in sore need of some trail names and other signage. And then we were going to piggyback on that and use some of the funds, if awarded, to do a dog waste campaign in town and put some official signage on some of the trail along the Sudbury Reservoir Trail that isn't really marked very well for no dogs. And so that was part of the initiative as well. And I think there was something else, I can't remember, you may recall what the details were, other signage that we needed in town. We didn't want to make it just about signage, so we were gonna make it more about an educational campaign to get the word out, but I can't remember exactly what. But so that's going to be due on April 30th. So I propose that we have, I'll stop sharing my screen now. I'll propose an earlier April meeting so that we can review, any details on that project that might need to be reviewed, and ideally would be able to submit by the 30th. And so to circulate it to the stewardship committee for review, but also to the trails committee for your input on that as well. So I will draft up a better outline and circulate it around for everyone to look at and add to and consider. Again, the total grant amount that they have is $4,500, but they offer it to a number of projects so that they can spread the wealth, which is really nice. So, last year we kept ours around $1,500. So if it's kind of in that ballpark, it seemed to be a successful number. It depends on what we're looking to do, but not to be too greedy and to share with others, that might work out really well. Okay. Okay, and then 2021 planning. So AMC Bay Circuit Trail 2021 potential projects. I haven't heard back from them after we had explored that one Bay Circuit Trail off of Oak Hill Road that it turns out to be more in Ashland and Framingham's area, but I did offer us if they needed some labor, because he only has a couple of volunteers. It could be a great learning opportunity for us as a Trails Committee to learn some skills on building, doing different projects on the trail. So he'll keep us posted on that. I have no new update. And then last time we talked about repurposing those map boxes and putting in some trailhead logbooks for this to see if people will either pay it forward with a positive note or a quote that they might have, or list their name and give us a log of who might be using the trails, and those stats could then be used for a future grant in any way that might be useful. So I have not connected with Tim Davis yet, the recreation director, but can do so, and the timing is ripe. So maybe once I get those boxes, if I could reach out to you guys and see who might be available one weekend. And I was thinking about, it might be a great thing for the Boy Scouts to help us put them up, but I don't want to wait until May, because people are already using the trails. They're using them year round. So the earlier the better. And it's already starting to get a little springy. So it'd be nice to get those up and out and working. I just don't know about the logbook yet. I haven't figured out the process. And that would be, for example, a great opportunity to put the blaze, the Southborough Trails Committee blaze would go on one of those, because that represents who we are. And that's perfect application for that blaze, that marker. Any thoughts or questions on that?
Nope. I mean,
Okay, so I think I've run out of stuff to talk about, and the agenda, now we're at the end. So we talked about trail videos. We're looking to put together something for our listening session for the warrant article. And I think, so that's that. So the next meeting. So I'm hoping, when is our next, I keep asking you and I should just look. Our next master plan committee meeting in April is on the 7th of April. So we wanted to meet a little bit earlier in April so we could plan our May thing. Does it make sense to look at April the 6th? It's just a few weeks away.
will we have the information about the grant by then? Okay. Then,
Yeah,
yeah,
we'll have a project outline by then, and a fully baked outline. We won't have the grant proposal written necessarily, but we'll have the outline of projects, and we'll know how we're going to approach it.
okay, that sounds good. The 6th is
Does
fine.
that work for you, Sati? Yep. Louisa, does that work for you? Wonderful. Okay, great. So let's do 6:30, April 6th. Actually, do we have the town? Let's see if we're going to have any issues right away.
Well, the selectmen meeting is
Oh,
tonight,
I don't see any Aprils.
March 30th.
I only see April 7th.
Okay.
So we'll be early birds. Yay. Okay, well, that was swift. Thank you, guys. So can someone make a motion to adjourn?
I make that motion.
Okay, Isabel, and then someone second?
I'll second it.
Great. Let's do roll call. So Satyendra Sharma.
Yes.
Tom McCoolier,
Yeah, yes.
Luisa Vargas,
Present.
Isabel Murphy.
Yes.
Great. And Kat McKee. Yes. So we will call the meeting at 7:36 record time. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Kat.